So I've been reading a lot of comments lately asking on how to style a small bedroom like I don't have one myself. Let me bust that myth real quick because my room is actually tiny. Now it's not the smallest room ever, but it's only 11 feet by 11 feet, which by no means is a big room. For example, right now I'm standing at my door and it only takes me 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 4.5 steps to get to the whole other side of my room. But honestly guys, small doesn't necessarily mean limiting. With a few thoughtful tweaks, you can transform even the tiniest room into your dream space and make it look even bigger than it is. Today I'm going to be spilling all my tips for making that happen, and by the end of the video I promise you guys you'll see your small room in a whole new light. Before we dive in, over 95% of you guys that are watching are not subscribed, which is actually insane. So if you're watching this and enjoying the content, please just take a second to hit that subscribe button. It's free and it helps me keep bringing you guys these fire tips. All right, anyways guys, it's time to get into the video. Alright, now that we've seen the current look, let's rewind a bit and talk about where it all started. Before anything else, the first thing I had to do was declutter and maximize my space. Honestly, in a small room like this, clutter can make it feel even smaller, so getting rid of what you don't need and organizing the rest is key. I started by tackling my clothes, which was the biggest problem for me because previously I had 2 separate dressers holding most of the clothes. To maximize the space in my room, I added a closet-made organizer, and this fully changed the game for me because it lets me store way more than I thought possible. I'm talking clothes, shoes, extra bags, and even accessories, all while keeping it neat and easy to access. Next, I turned to the underside of my queen-size bed, which is prime storage real estate. Under here, I've got storage cubes, underbed bins, and even seasonal items tucked away under there. Every inch of this space, I can say, is being put to good use. And of course, I also have my bookshelf, which not only doubles as decor, but also storage. Perfect for holding books if you want, decorative pieces, and shoes, but I also use it for storing smaller items like my camera collection, which has now kind of become a part of my decor. Decluttering and making the most of your storage options doesn't just free up space. Believe it or not, it also makes your room feel bigger, cleaner, and way more functional. Once you've organized everything, it's so much easier to start designing your dream room. Once the clutter is gone and everything is organized, the next step is planning the layout and creating zones. If you have a small room like mine, every corner has to work for you, so it's all about being intentional with your space. I've divided my room into a few distinct zones, and each one serves a purpose. First, there's my workspace. This is where I edit videos, create content, and of course stay productive. So I made sure to keep it minimal but functional with enough desk space for my gear and any other supplies that I may need. Then there's my cozy bed area. Since the bed naturally takes up a big part of my room, I made it the focal point by styling it with layered bedding, textured throws, and pillows. And honestly, it's the perfect spot to unwind. Next is my little nook for my record player. And it is a small space, but it adds so much personality to my room. This is where I choose to unwind with some of my favorite records. And finally, my bookshelf. This zone doubles as decor and storage, holding not only my camera gear, but seasonal decor, my shoes, and my cologne, which is perfect because I'm able to display it all nicely in just one area. Having a layout like this with zones planned out makes the room feel so much more organized and functional without actually feeling cramped. When everything has its own space, it's easier to relax, focus, and really enjoy your room. Now guys, if there's one thing that can completely transform a small room, it's lighting. Honestly, lighting is everything. And if you have a small space like mine, warm and layered lighting not only makes the room feel cozier, but it can also make it appear bigger and way more inviting. Guys, I only have one window in my room, so I really don't get much natural light. Without the right lighting, my room would quite literally look like a tiny dungeon. Definitely not the vibe I'm going for. So that's why layering different types of lighting throughout the room is so important. I've got not only a bedside table lamp, but also poster lights that highlight my wall art, puck lights for extra ambiance, and shit, even my speakers have built-in lights on them. Each light source adds something unique, but together they create the ultimate cozy vibe. While it might seem like overkill to have so many lights, trust me, it's a lifesaver when light is limited. These layers of light make my room feel warm, inviting, and far from boring. Now that we've got lighting on point, let's talk about choosing a cohesive color palette. This is so important, especially for making a small room feel calm and put together. Now guys, I get asked about my paint color all the time, which is a light gray called Silver Mine, and choosing a neutral wall color like this creates the perfect base to build on. For the winter season, I wanted to go with blues and neutral tones because obviously they're cool and calming, which makes this space feel fresh and serene, while at the same time the neutrals prevent it from looking too colorful. Keeping your colors consistent is key to making a room feel less chaotic and a lot more spacious. Of course, that doesn't mean you have to be boring and can't have fun with color. I personally like to add pops of it through smaller pieces like lamps, artwork, or even plants. But for the big items like shelves, my desk, and my bedside table, I make sure that everything complements the overall palette, which in this case is usually white, black, or gray. Now guys, you heard me mention earlier that in a small room, bed naturally becomes the main focal point. So in this case, it's worth putting some extra effort into making it stand out. I try to keep things simple but impactful by layering my bedding with textures like soft sheets, a cozy comforter, and of course this chunky knit throw blanket that just adds such a dreamy vibe that I love. Honestly guys, throw in some decorative pillows and like that, you've got a bed that feels as good as it looks. A well-made bed doesn't just elevate your space, it anchors your whole room and makes everything else feel a lot more intentional. So guys, don't neglect your bed. Another great trick to try when it comes to small rooms is adding mirrors. They reflect light and create the illusion of more space, making the room feel bigger and brighter without having to do anything at all. I personally placed my mirror in the darkest corner of my room and added a light above it to maximize the brightness in this area. It not only makes it feel more open, but it also balances out the lighting throughout the entire space. Now, if you can, I'd personally recommend adding a mirror opposite to your window because this will actually help you reflect more natural light into your whole room without really having to do much. It's a simple tip, but usually it's the simple ones that are gonna make a huge difference, especially if you're feeling limited with a smaller room. Moving on to tip number 7, don't forget to add those personal touches that make the room feel truly yours. After all, your space should reflect who you are and what you love, and how I did that for myself is by adding framed posters that not only match my color scheme, but also showcase some of the aesthetics I love. Another way I did this is by adding a few plants, which brings in some greenery, and I even threw in a Christmas tree to give the room a seasonal vibe. Oh, and of course, and I can't forget, I also hung up a jersey that I designed, which makes this space literally unique to me and also a lot more personal. At the end of the day, I know it's easy to look at a room like mine and want to recreate it exactly, but remember, this right here is my dream room, not yours. It's so important to inject your own personality. Even if you're using my room as inspiration, make sure to add elements that reflect who you are. At the end of the day, your room should feel like your space, tailored to your needs, interests, and style. Stop following everything to a T and don't be afraid to make it uniquely yours. So guys, those are a few tips on how I turned my small 11 by 11 room into my absolute dream space. I'd love to know down in the comments below which tip in this video was your favorite, or if you got any of your own small room hacks to share. I would love to hear them down below because I'm always looking for some great new ideas. Of course guys, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn those notifications on so you don't miss out on any of these fire new uploads. As always, I hope you guys have a great day, and peace.